अगर आप एक क्यूरियस इंसान हो जिसको नॉलेज गेन करना है डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स के बारे में, तो आप एक सही जगह पे हो मेरे दोस्त. प्लीज़ एंजॉय दिस क्लिप. इस तरीके से स्टार्ट हुआ बैंकिंग इंडिया के अंदर. क्या नीड आई कि लगा तब जो रूल कर रहे थे लाइक ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, तो क्या नीड लगी उनको कि बैंकिंग सिस्टम आना चाहिए इंडिया में भी?
So simple, they wanted to transfer money to England and they needed some sort of a way by which they can mainly do two things. One is transferring of money and second is discounting of bills, because their East India Company was a trading company and all their people were traders. So I am doing some business in Chennai, I want the money to be paid in Banaras, or I am doing some business in Calcutta, I want the money to be paid in Bombay. I need an instrument which is the bill of exchange, which is the hundi, or but that has to be accepted by someone और उसके अगेंस्ट मुझे पैसा मिलना चाहिए. And that is the way the banking evolved. तो उसके पहले there were no formal banks. So Bank of England had been formed in the 18th century. But India में there were no banks. A few banks had been formed. I think the first instance is about 1770 or something, Bank of Hindustan, but that didn't survive. So the first formal bank was formed by East India Company. There were three presidency towns, you have to understand. The East India Company had one Fort William in Calcutta, Fort St. George in Madras, and Bombay. So it was called Calcutta, Madras and Bombay. Now it is Chennai, Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai. So these were the three presidencies from where the East India Company was ruling.
So मतलब लोगों को बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों को ये भी पता होगा कि ब्रिटिश इंडिया का कैपिटल था कलकत्ता.
That was much later. But this is East India Company. East India Company is still a trading company which has managed to capture a large part of Calcutta by defeating the Nawab of Bengal. And they are still, the Maratha were the most powerful that time. But unfortunately, by 1818, after the Third Anglo-Maratha War, the Marathas also declined in power. So East India Company started becoming more and more powerful. Till 1857, it was East India Company which was ruling India. It was then, after 1857, when the first War of Independence, what the British like to call as the Sepoy Mutiny. It was not a mutiny actually, it was a real War of Independence. Unfortunately, we lost. That is where the British government woke up and said, now enough of this trading organization ruling the country. They got their viceroy as a representative of...
Sorry to cut you off, but what happened in Sipan Mutiny?
So this was a mutiny where this was the first organized battle where from Allahabad, Kanpur, all the soldiers who were working for the British East India Company, they decided to revolt and take over. Why should a few handful of Britishers who are not even representing the government, they are an independent company called the British East India Company, run the country? So we need to take over. Unfortunately, we were not able to gather forces. Tatya Tope, Rani Lakshmibai, all these people played a big part in it. But they are not able to gather enough forces across India to be able to defeat just a few thousand or a few thousand Britishers who were there in India. And our own people again, you know, they are working for the Britishers. But they did not fully support and we lost the battle. And that is the time the British realized that they want to now formally get India as a part of the British dominion. And India then became, the viceroy was a representative of the empress, of the emperor then, who is now representing the British crown. And this entire territory then came under the British dominion. We became a part of Great Britain.
Right. So Queen Victoria rule कर रही थी.
Queen Victoria rule कर रही थी.
Right. So going back to again, जो पहली बैंक एस्टैब्लिश हुई, जैसे आपने बोला कि ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ने पहली बैंक कौन सी?
Bank of Calcutta, it was formed in 1805.
Okay.
And that soon became Bank of Bengal. So kind of you can say that the Bank of Bengal was the first formal bank formed by the East India Company. That time it was still the British East India Company. And soon in 1840 and 1843 they created Bank of Bombay and Bank of Madras.
जो अलग दो
ये तीन
big coincidences में
के banks थे. Very clearly those banks were meant for, not for a common man.
Why?
I mean, so their rules were such. So you, to open a current account, you needed to put in 500 rupees. I mean, you can imagine कि उस समय जो एक क्लार्क था, उसका सैलरी को 10 रुपीज़ था.
महीने की
10 to 12 rupees per month. And you want a minimum amount of 500 rupees to open a current account.
तब सेविंग्स अकाउंट नहीं होते थे.
Savings account नहीं होते थे. So there were some deposits which were made. So those things were clearly meant for the Parsis in Bombay started Bank of Bombay, the traders in Calcutta, the traders in Bengal, but it remained like that for almost a century, where this was meant not for a common man, but for the rich traders to be able to do their transactions much easier. So the presidency banks were issuing the bill of exchange. They're also printing currency.
If you enjoyed this clip, then please like, share, and subscribe. It's free.